We arrive in Los Angeles, also a team that Chicago played this weekend, and we got to see our first look of regular season action for Shohei Ohtani, who started and batted second in the lineup, the first pitcher to bat second in an MLB lineup since 1918. Yeah, because pitchers just do not hit, right? But he does. And he hits 101 miles per hour with his fastball in the game, the hardest pitch so far of the MLB season, then proceeds to hit a 450-foot bomb to right center. I don't know if you saw that highlight, Max, but that swing is so sweet. That is it. You could hear it so definitively when he hit it, like one of the loudest balls I've heard coming off a bat. Just absolutely crushed it, and just flashing so much of that potential that we are so excited to see. Scary moment. He had gone four and 2/3 inning, only given up one run. He had walked 5 though and struck out 6. So a lot of pitches, and he was covering home on a throw home on an error to throw first, and gets slid into by Jose Abreu, takes his legs out. He would leave the game. So now we are looking to see if Shohei will be hurt long term. It looked okay, but hopefully he's healthy because we really want to see him out there. He is a special talent, and historic night last night for him, and hopefully he's back healthy and ready to go again, because when you throw the fastest pitch of the season and hit the hardest ball of the season in one night, it's something special. Yeah.
I believe the term is human highlight reel when you have that kind of ability, although you wonder and worry what kind of toll does that take on the human body to have that kind of output. And I mean, it's nice to hear that's a leg injury, but like eyes on the upper body of Ohtani all season probably, to see
Yeah,
if
that'll be the running story. But for now, just enjoy Showtime. All right. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the changing of the MLB strategy. I would guess the game is just changing, right? And this weekend, in all of those games of Major League action, only 3 pitchers pitched over 100 pitches this weekend. And it's something that used to just be so commonplace. Everyday pitchers, your starter would go out there, despite how many runs they just pitch, right? There was no limit. And now people are so concerned about the limit and maintaining the long-term health of pitchers. And obviously important, right? Because these are guys who you invest a lot of money into and you want to have long-term. And pitchers are always pitching injured. There's always something going on. The body is not designed to throw a ball like that and generate so much force. And so guys are always getting hurt, stress on ligaments, tendons, bones. And so that's why these limits are in place, but just really interesting to see how the world is changing. And very few guys are going to hit that 5-inning requirement anymore to get wins, because that was the requirement for starting pitchers. You have to hit 5 innings to get awarded the win. And 100 pitches is not, it's less pitches than you might think. Like, guys can pitch a lot of pitches in an inning, especially some of those guys with all these great lineups now who can really work out walks or just mash balls. And so really interesting to see how the game is changing. A lot more specialized relievers coming in, a lot of long range. Like we saw Michael King yesterday for the Yankees pitch 6 innings out of the bullpen, but that was mostly because the Jays just seemed to stop caring about offense once they had the lead. Yeah, so it just is interesting to see how the game is changing, with multiple guys being able to go kind of 2-3 innings, as opposed to your starter who's going to come in, take the ball every 5 days and give you 7 innings. That just it's a dying breed nowadays. And just thought that was an interesting theme to start the season. But yeah, Max, do you have anything to comment on that?
not comment, I guess, just probe a little deeper and get
Yeah.
your thoughts on, is that like, does that slow down the game, make it more defensive, make it more boring, but we're counterbalancing that with the importance of the health of the players, obviously. I mean, you can't tell them to throw softer. That's
Yeah, it's baseball has become so analytical that it's, from what the studies have shown, guys who throw harder with a greater spin rate, with a similar arm angle, are going to produce outs you want swing and misses as opposed to guys inducing contact, because when you get swings and misses, there's less chance of a ball being put in play and something bad happening. And also just harder to hit a guy who throws when a guy throws harder, you have less time to see the pitch. It's just common, like if you have less time to swing, then it's gonna be harder to hit the ball. And so that is one of the ways that it has changed. I think as well, there's been more studies done into working guys up. So we will see more guys hitting that 100 pitches later in the season, but really early in the season, you're still trying to work up that workload. So that is one of the factors contributing. And I think the game just changes because when you have more pitchers coming into the game, it is going to take longer because there's more breaks when they're coming. That's why they introduced that new rule that any reliever now has to face 3 batters or end an inning. You can't just bring a guy in for 1 batter. You can't do that anymore. It changes the defense a little bit because now just shifts everywhere. They'll play like 4 outfielders sometimes, or they'll have guys moved all the way around to the right side or the left side of the diamond. It's becoming intensely analytical. I wouldn't say that it's really changing anything too much with like the game of baseball itself. It's just changing the strategy, and I definitely have to look a little bit more into it, but just, yeah, it's intensely analytical, baseball is now. And so all the reasons why people aren't pitching 100, a lot of it's health related, and a lot of it is you don't want guys facing the lineup 3 times through, because data suggests that once you face the hitters for a 3rd time, all the batting averages go up by about 100 points. So that's a big reason as well.
Yeah, I'm just assuming that these decisions lead to better defense, and better defense leads to more boring baseball. So I'm wondering about that tension between health of players and maybe a decline in excitement of the sport, and wondering if the commission has to weigh in on that, or they just let it play out and whatever happens happens. Because there's like a Chinese idiom that 100-leg centipede still stands strong when it dies, and it just means like such a behemoth of a sport in baseball isn't going anywhere, even if we talk about it getting more boring. I messed up that idiom, but I think I got the point across.
Yeah, they also talk about another thing that is interesting to watch this season is apparently they have changed the baseball, and it's supposed to be deadened a little bit because there were just, according to the league, too many home runs last year, which if you're talking about making the game more fun, why would you want less home runs? So that's another thing to watch. But the game has become a lot of guys looking for swing and miss, and a lot of batters looking to either home run or strike out. And so you do see it's the defense is changing, but it's almost like you're getting less defense because there's going to be more strikeouts and more home runs. And when those 2 things happen, no defense is needed to be played. So just interesting to see. There will be more stories written as it comes out, and I'll be doing the reading on it, and I'll be able to relay a lot of that information here. But we will continue to track the MLB season as it gets underway. It's going to be a long season, so don't expect too much out of me every podcast or so, because I'm really going to only have to try and take away some of the big themes that I've seen. And then, of course, a lot of Blue Jays action, because that will be the team that I follow.